Good evening. Evening because 9 p.m. New York time. And I didn't get a trade today because I had to work. And I'm not a full-time trader yet. So, but I was going over some things in the market and I noticed a few things that I'd like to remember along with a trade entry today and something that aligns with my second video I made, my last video, 5 minute using the 1 minute fair value gaps. Let's start with high time frame. Going into this morning, we're sitting in this 4 hour candle. I'm going to talk about making a bias for today. Something I was looking at, I might even had the wrong bias because we have a 4 hour fair value gap and it's already, bearish order flow. This morning opens, you see this, you see a 4 hour candle going to the downside. You're probably thinking we're bearish on the day. I might have thought we're bearish on the day. It's easier to read price action later in the day. Anyways, but what I want to look at is Fibonacci retracement levels and how I'm liking this high right now. It's the most recent high to most recent low. See how this one doesn't hit 50%? Not even 50%. But what I wanted to show is how probabilities work. I want to show myself, not even really anyone. This is just so I can go back and watch it from anywhere in the world. On the 4 hour, like this would have been a good move. There was a ton of consolidation, but look what happens when it hits OTE. Crashes, right? So from this high to this low, OTE crashes. Most recent high to most recent low. Up there we almost hit OTE 70.5 optimum trade entry, but the high probability range is between 62 and 79. Anywhere in here is a very high probability. The higher the probability of if it hits here, and then I would say this between here and here is the highest probability, but between here and here is very high, but can be messy sometimes. Anyways, ignore what I just said. Anywhere in this range is very high probability along with other confluences. But what I want to show is keep going down, most recent low, most recent high. This had only hit 50% of the most recent high to the most recent low this morning. So I hadn't made the optimum retracement to go down. Notice where it went. Notice where it pushed up to before closing to the downside. So this morning we're sitting at only consequent encouragement, and it gets a reaction off that, but wants to trade up to OTE and then dump. I'm going to go straight to the 15 minute because I didn't see anything I liked on the hourly. 9:30 market open is this 15-minute candle right here. The only thing that would have been a worry is, or not even a worry, I should say, something to look at was the fact that there was a 15-minute change in the state of delivery right here. Let's see how tricky this would have been off of this, and then I'll go over what I seen. So of course, see 9:30, 9:45. This is like what happens if you get in too early. You need to let that first 15-minute candle close in the morning. If you're getting in at 9:34, like you really should give the market 15 minutes to get the early birds out. The people that are rushing into the market that think they know ahead. There are good traders that early. I'm not gonna lie. Top 1%, do what you want to do. I'm no professional trader. I'm only talking to myself here. I have to wait for this first 15-minute candle to close. Because if you look at this, like that's quite a reaction. 15-minute mark share shift by 15-minute clears a high, has a change of state of delivery, closes below the low, retraces into there, and even retraces at OTE. Look at that. It would have been OTE. Drop to the 5 minute. Let's see what it looks like. See, on the 5 minute though, Would you want to get into this slop? What is this? 940? 940. So you shouldn't even have been in it yet. And let's look at something. Most recent high to low on the 5 minute at 940. 5 minute closes above a 79% retracement. So what's that mean? That's basically a change in state of delivery. It closes above a 79% retracement. It's likely to go bullish. And I'm going to show you more proof to that. So let's not pay attention to this 15-minute mark short shift. Let's pay more attention to this BS right here. Market opens right here. So if we want to say the high to low on market open, like I just did, close above 79% retracement. So what do you do when that happens, Tristan? You turn the fib around, low to the most recent high. What's this right here? Well, that one closes from high, low to high. That literally hits 79% retracement, but doesn't close below it. The next 5 minute candle hits OTE. So when it made this low, made this high, actually this can't count. This can't count because this is the low and this is the high. So that means this is the retracement. Makes a low, makes a high, retracement, 62%, 236.25. No way, is that to the dot? 236.25. It retraces to OTE, to the dot, to the tick, to the tick. So you drop down to the 1 minute. Keep this 5 minute over here because it's something I want to use on that. Let's see. 931, just like I said. I want to show the retracement on the 1 minute as well. 931, not just like I said. 931, I'm doing the same high to low here, but I'm showing it on the 1 minute. You see how it works in the same thing where I said 5 minute closes 79% retracement? At first, the 1 minute time frame respects 79% retracement, but does it give you a fair value gap to the downside? It gives you an inversion BPR right here. There's a fair value gap here, and there's a fair value gap here. So it inverts this BPR, but at what time? 940. The first 15-minute candle hasn't closed. Don't be a part of it if the first 15-minute candle has not closed. Bam. Not look at that. What I say, the first 15-minute candle. 944. First 15-minute candle closes. The 1 minute time frame and the 5 minute time frame close above 79% retracement. So what do we do here? We reverse it. If this closed above 79% retracement, what's that mean? That means we're now using the Fibonacci from this high to this low, where it closed 79% retracement, and we just start looking at this. Bam, bam. Look at 79% retracement. Look at the candle bodies. Look at that. Perfectly staying above there. And then look at these. Staying above OTE. Staying above OTE. I could even move it forward to the most recent high and low it makes after that because of course you could be like, oh, it's respecting this, but remember it just broke against 79% retracement, so, and didn't break 79% retracement down here. It respected 79% retracement, so we're not worried about this movement here. All we're worried about is bullish movement. So we can go from this high to this low. Wrong way. Yeah, it's this low to this high. Still respects 79% retracement. I don't think this does. It closes a little above it, so that kind of is like a little like null and void. But right now we're still in the range of this low to this high. We haven't broke that range. So I would only use this high to this low because this high to this low broke 79% retracement and it hasn't left the range that these high and low has made. It's still within it. That's really all I had about retracements. But what I wanted to show is that the it's at 9:30. This is a daily first fair value gap, and this gets a little confusing because this is another thing of like, don't get in too early. You want that first 15-minute candle to close, and technically we're looking into getting the macro. Closes above this candle, creates another fair value gap right here, overlapping the same fair value gap. I'm not going to draw it out, but technically it's 1 minute BPR. Closes below it, touches it. I'm sure there was people shorting here like crazy, but that's 9:40. It's 5 minutes before the 15-minute candle closes. You're not supposed to do that. Break 79% retracement. Makes another fair value gap while breaking 79% retracement. Now, I know that it dilly-dallied in this range. It even played with this fair value gap in multiple ways, multiple times. But check this. After it breaks 79% retracement and it respects OTE here, we look at the 5 minute. And what are the 5 minute candle bodies doing? Staying near the consequent encouragement of the daily first fair value gap. Like, look how it's like barely pushing through that. On top of that, you get first fair value gap respected, you know, makes first fair value gap, 5 minute stays below it, 5 minute closes above it. Literally gets hit by the brakes in there. Bam. This 1 minute fair value gap, this is what I talked about in my last video. These are where the trade entries, where it won't even go near your stop loss if you know what 1 minute fair value gap to use on the 5 minute. And 955, so this candle is 950 to 954. Because if I place this on here, bam, that's the closing of that candle. This is the opening of this candle. So this 5 minute candle opens and trades down, touches the consequent encouragement of this 1 minute fair value gap for a second, maybe, smacks that, and then just goes insane to the top side, right at 955. So you let the first 15-minute candle close, you wait for the macro, you see that the 5 minutes respecting the daily first fair value gap, you see this 1 minute fair value gap, 5 minute closes above it, taps it, boom, to the upside. Oh, damn, I forgot one more confluence. It's like, because I feel like that wasn't enough. You have 5 minute OTE retracement, um, 1 minute inversion. I would say, in a sense, this is like an inversion BPR. What it is actually, it closes below it right here, and here, but then closes above it and just respects it. 1 minute inverse BPR, 1 minute reclaimed bullish fair value gap, 5 minute OTE. But something else ICT teaches is wicks. And on market open of this morning, if you look on the 15 minute and you draw the wick out, so where you want, this is the liquidity anyone would have been seeking if they were shorting. If you're shorting, you're going for the most recent low. So if this inversion BPR, if you were shorting right here, you probably wanted to at least go here or lower. That would have been your first like take profit, your first contract. Look at this. 5 minute candle bodies or 15 minute stays out of it, but the 5 minute candle bodies stay in the upper quadrant of that, so only like 25%. The 1 minute barely pushes through consequent encouragement. And ICT says to treat these wicks, the lowest like wick or the highest wick, he says to use the wick of the candle body. That's the lowest. And we can clearly see, so the tallest wick, but also the candle body has to be the highest or lowest. So if this was a peak, we'd be choosing whatever candle's got the highest body closure. And if you put this on there, so you gotta, ICT says to treat this like a fair value gap. So this wick turns into a fair value gap. You got 5 and 1 minute respect, 15, 5 and 1 minute respect on a 15-minute fair value gap. You got 5-minute OTE, 1 minute inversion BPR, 1 minute reclaimed fair value gap, reclaimed bullish fair value gap. You know what? I make this YouTube channel only for myself, so so 15-minute. I was just like wick. Whoa, witch? And now we're typing about witches. Five-minute OTE. Wasn't that 5-minute OTE to the tick? One-minute inverse BPR with a 1-minute reclaimed bullish fair value gap. And you could even add more to that if you wanted to get crazy about it, because if you look right here, you got a 1-minute candle body closing above there. So on top of having all of these confluences, there's even a liquidity sweep. If you count that as a confluence, there's like liquidity sweep, 15-minute fair value gap, or 15-minute wick respect, 5-minute OTE respect. I just want to double check this 5-minute OTE. Oh yeah, since this got disrespected, we're gonna go bam to bam. Oh, so even if I did the same candle low to high, it still respects OTE. Still. You can even come down to the 1 minute. Let me remove this pink line. Look at that. That's the low. That's the high. The 1 minute, look at the candle bodies stay there. But I did use this one because 5-minute hits OTE on the dot right here. 29, 636, 25. 29, 636, 25. So 5-minute OTE that perfect. What time did it hit that? I have to know. Right there. And then it inverses this. It was a storm. This would have been really hard to see. And I'm not even gonna lie. I feel like this would have been really hard to see. But it's good for me to go over it and talk through it myself. You know what I mean? 5-minute OTE, 1-minute OTE, and it's stopping at OTE like it's a brick fucking wall. Stays above this first fair value gap on the 5-minute. Candle bodies respect it. 5-minute inverse is this reclaimable bearish fair value gap. And if you would have entered right here, this candle, you would have just like nowhere even near your stop loss. It would have just kept going.